So quantity supplied is the sum of the quantities supplied at each price. So this is just the same thing as we did with demand, but we're just doing it with supply. So Starbucks and their down the street competitor Jitters are our two latte suppliers. And so it is the total amounts that they will supply at any given price that give us our market supply. Any questions on this? So then we turn around and graph that. Questions on this? You guys, when you're graphing, I'm just going to ask you a question that says, show me a supply curve. And you're just going to draw this. And you're going to label the line with what? Capital S. You label the curve with a capital S. How do you know which curve goes which way? Because you know the law of supply or the law of demand, right? And you could make like there's numbers on your axes and figure it out. You don't have to memorize anything. You just have to know how it works and apply it. I know that's tragically difficult for some of you. You should practice this tonight. Definitely. How many of you went home and spent any time reviewing demand last night? Getting through to a few of you. Okay, good. All right, so supply curve shifters, or what's the right word for it? Determinants. Okay, and these are all ceteris paribus as well. So here they are, your supply determinants. A change in the price of inputs. A change in the price of inputs. So inputs are the things that it takes to make what you're supplying. Does anybody know what material blue jeans are made of? What is denim made of? Cotton. Cotton is what denim is woven of, and that's what makes your jeans. So if the price of cotton increases, that is a change in the price of inputs to blue jeans, and so supply will do what? It will go down. Good. The more expensive it is to make something, the less of it a supplier is going to produce. The less expensive it is, the more they will produce. Okay. And there is the reasoning in words, if you need to write them down. And so here, we're back at our latte example. Okay. So the price of milk falls. What's going to happen to our curve? Which way is it going to move? Point. We're supplying latte. Which way is supply going to move? Yeah, we never say up or down. It's going to increase. Here's why we never say up or down. With demand, when demand was this way, if we shifted up, we were increasing, right? With supply, if we shift up, what are we doing? Decreasing. So that's why it's always left and right, so you can't get in your own head. So if the price of milk has gone down, which way is this moving? To the right, it's increasing. Woohoo! Makes you feel smart to be right, doesn't it? Okay. A change in available technology, or just a change in technology, is a supply determinant. A change in technology. Because technology affects how you make something. And so, one of the great examples of a change in technology altering supply would be the invention of the tractor. How did we supply farm goods prior to the tractor? A dude and a horse and a plow, right? Or an ox and a plow. And now we've got the internal combustion engine and some heavy machinery. Does supply increase? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay? So, cost-saving improvements can help you to increase supply. But this one cuts both ways. What happens to supply if there is a global brownout and we lose the use of all of our technology because we have no power? Supply will go to virtually zero, right? Okay. If something happens to your factory, you've got a massive loss in technology. Ask Fukushima. Too soon? That's where the earthquake in Japan and the radiation leak. Okay, change in the number of sellers. Change in the number of sellers in the market. There are more or fewer businesses making what it is that we're graphing. Change in number of sellers in the market. If tomorrow news comes out that Apple bought Samsung, what happens to supply of smartphones? It's going to go down. There's fewer suppliers. Samsung's out of business now. Now, eventually, will Apple ramp up their supply? Yes, but immediately, Samsung's not going to be producing any more smartphones. They go down. Ford goes out of business next month. What happens to supply of motor vehicles? A massive decrease. Right? Okay. Change in producer expectations. This is where you need to be sure you're putting in the word producer, whereas in demand determinants we said change in consumer expectations. So change in producer expectations. The producers can look into the future and decide what's going to happen as well. For instance, how many lawnmowers are the Toro plants turning out right now? Pretty much none, because they're in their retooling process, getting ready to ramp up production of snow blowers. Okay? They can see that the seasons are changing, just like you can. I know, it's amazing.
Smart.
Okay. This one always makes students feel like it's dirty pool on the part of the businesses, or it's sneaky. So if we know that, I don't know, crazy stuff like multiple conflicts in the Middle East at the same time could result in disruption of oil supply, then we know that prices of oil are going to go up, right? But that doesn't happen overnight, because the oil that's in the pipeline and that's in the gas that's in the tank at the gas station is already bought and paid for. So it's next month's gas that's going to be more expensive, correct? Okay. So what happens is the oil fields in Texas and Alaska slow down how much they're pumping out to the refineries so that they can sell some of what they're making now next month at the higher prices. And students always get kind of indignant about that. Well, that's not fair. They shouldn't be doing that. How is that any different than you deciding you can limp along with your old broken lawnmower for another month until they go on clearance?
You mean our scissors?
Yes, your scissors. Do you see what I'm saying? It's just that because you have spent your life in the role of consumer, you're alert to being ripped off, whereas you don't realize that as consumer, your entire goal is to rip off the business, right? Everybody just wants to get the most out of what they can. Couponing. Okay. So the supply of oil at this point in time will shift left in this example. Usually, a change in producer expectations relates to price. The exception to them being able to adjust to this is if they're good, if the thing they're supplying will go bad, if it is perishable. What might an example of that be? Milk can be frozen. How about lettuce? Lettuce can't be frozen and reconstituted. Fruits you can turn into juices, you can freeze, you can turn apples into applesauce. There's lots of other ways you can deal with that stuff. But lettuce, pretty much you harvest it, you'd better sell it and get it eaten, right? Anybody ever found a nasty, slimy head of lettuce in the fridge? No?
Yeah.
Oh, it's fun. It's definitely perishable.
Sting. What about cheese?
Cheese will keep a good long while. Not once it's shredded, but if it's still in its block, it's all right.
I was gonna say, I've had some stinky cheese in my house.
Well, it may have been stinky when it started, too.
True.
Okay. So, all of our supply determinants. We know price isn't an actual determinant, right? But we know that a change in input prices, change in technology, change in the number of sellers in the market, and change in producer expectations are all supply determinants. Yay! There's fewer things to memorize for supply than there are for demand. Who's relieved? Okay. I know this isn't tremendously exciting stuff, guys. I know some of you are kind of losing it out there, but it is critical that you get this, or you will be lost the rest of the semester. You have to memorize these and be able to apply them like that. It's like being able to do multiplication in your head. You gotta. Tony.
Isn't there a change in government policy?
Yeah. I must have added that in last time.
Yeah, I think you.
It wasn't in the book.
Yeah, it's not.
We're gonna add one. Tony's absolutely right.
Oh my gosh.
Now,
Thanks, Tony.
because that one doesn't fit under any of these, and it is important. A change in government policy. A change in government policy. I thought that was odd because I thought there were 5 and 5.
Seems like a not
So you lied to us before.
No. Change in government policy, and it relates to taxes and subsidies. Relates to taxes and subsidies. The government can choose to impact supply by offering subsidies to increase production, or they can remove those subsidies, or if they think that what is being produced is not a good, but is a bad, and I'm not being silly, that is a literal economic term. If it's not a good, it's a bad. They can tax it heavily. What would an example of a bad be?
Cigarettes.
Cigarettes. There you go. And government has attempted to influence those. Alcohol would be another one. The tax on alcohol is very high. How about the fines levied against automobile manufacturers if they aren't meeting the minimum miles per gallon requirements that are set out to go into place in, what, 2017? 2018? That would be a tax, huge tax. Okay, so the government can influence supply. Change in government policy. Thank you, Tony. You saved us.
Did you?
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
All right. So, we need a supply curve on the board for tax preparation software. We can call it TurboTax if you want. Need a volunteer to come up and put that on the board. Connor, bring it.
Do I have to like do math?
Do you have to do
Do I
math?
have to do math?
Will Connor have to do math to draw a supply curve?
No. I don't know, that's what I was doing.
Your supply curve is tax preparation software.
So our title. Tax preparation.
Do graphs need titles?
Yes.
I'm just trying to like.
You can just say prep. He does have nice handwriting.
Do I get data or like?
No, just draw me a supply curve. Okay, what's missing? Price and quantity, labels on the axes.
Yeah, that's what I meant by data.
No, I don't want data, I just want labels. And how do we label the curve? All right, thank you, you're done.
Yeah.
So on the quiz, if I ask you, draw a supply curve, you must have the curve going the right direction, the label P, the label Q, the label S for the curve, and a title. And that will get you 5 points. Yes, David?
So all of ours have been straight lines. Do they ever curve? Or
Oh, they all curve. Actually, supply curves tend to have sharp angles. We are still in the very theoretical, you have to understand how it works before we can make it more complex thing. But yes, they all curve. Nature abhors a straight line. All right, who wants to take A on? Oh, you cringed out loud, Swift. That means you want it. Come on up.
Does that not mean
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, if you go, "Ugh," then you just bought it. All right, Swift. Retailers cut the price of our tax prep software. Show us that on the graph. Used to be $99.99, now it is $69.99 because it's May 1st. When our taxes due?
April 10th. Would that be a change in expectation?
Is that a change in
Because
expectations?
tax season is coming up? No, it'd be just changing the price, so, I don't know.
Retailers cut the price of the software. What are we graphing? What are we graphing? What's the title of the graph?
Tax prep software.
Tax prep software. And the price of the software has been cut. Can you graph that?
It's insane.
You can't graph a cut in the price of the software?
You're on the right track, just do it.
Stop second guessing yourself. Don't let me in your head.
Go for it.
Don't let
me in your head.
Go for it.
Wait, so
There was a price already, and now the retailers have cut that price.
Wouldn't they producers not produce as much?
We are graphing the software, right?
Yeah.
And the price of the software has been cut. So there's an initial price, known as P1, and there's a new price that is lower, known as P2.
Should I write that over here?
Yes.
So,
Nice.
and then
Yes.
You got it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dotted. Yeah. Yeah.
Yay.
Nice.
Oh!
Oh, you were killing it.
Oh.
I don't want you to be able to get it right because you can read my face. I want you to be able to get it right because you know what to do.
Okay.
You knew what to do, didn't you? From the very beginning.
Yes.
Don't chicken out, guys. All right.
I'm on a rooster.
All right, Mr. Aaron, since you just crowed, you just bought B. Come on up. Rooster boy. You're gonna have to erase that and start over since she messed up our axes with her prices and quantities.
Sorry.
Oh,
I enjoyed the example.
Thank you.
and Miranda, everybody sitting out there was pulling for you and feeling your pain, and they were so glad that they
I wasn't
didn't.
though. I should
Uh-huh.
have cringed out loud.
They were all so glad.
Why'd you do it in green?
Why'd you use green?
Because I want to use green.
Sniff
But
that
then, like,
marker.
half the lines are red.
Apple.
Okay, Aaron, a technological advance allows the software to be produced at a lower cost.
All right. So that's a change in technology. So it goes,
It's a subtle clue, isn't it?
it's an increase.
So supply is going to increase.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you graph that for us?
Oh yeah. I'm gonna erase that. Move it out the way, you know.
Okay.
All right.
I'm getting this stuff.
Is this right? Is this gonna?
That's
If,
right.
if
Yeah.
you want it to
I feel this. This is what I'm
Brandon, I
feeling.
got this.
You gotta label
you gotta
that one
label
though.
that one.
Oh wait, there's no lines.
You got what?
You gotta
That's
label
one.
it.
That's
Arrows.
two.
There's no lines.
Put a sub 1 on the first curve too.
What?
A sub 1 on the
That's
first
one.
curve.
That's one. Okay, yeah.
Subscript.
There you go.
There we
Got a
go.
Y.
All right.
Aaron said that because of a change in technology, supply would increase. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is his graph accurately representing what he said?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
it is. It is. All right. So there's 2 sets of points to one of these questions. Follow that? Can you write it correctly and answer it correctly in your writing? And then can you accurately graph what you've written? Because sometimes you'll say it right and then draw it wrong, which is a problem because it means you either can't read your graph or you can't graph what you wrote. Alex. Attempting the no eye contact strategy. I'm wise to your ways.
I try hiding behind the phone.
Professional tax return preparers raise the price of the services they provide. Talk it out. Go through all of the supply determinants and see if that fits any of them. Here, let's do this together with Alex and help her out. What are our determinants? Let's go through them all. Have we had a change in technology? No, so that one's out. Have we had a change in price expectations? Oh, all right. We have discord on that one. Let's hold the price expectations in mind. Have we had a change in government policy? No, so that one's out. Have we had a change in the number of suppliers in the market? No. And I'm glad you said no because sometimes classes will say yes. Tax prep software, we don't have more software companies in the market. What's our 5th determinant we have to check? Change in the price of inputs. Are computer programmers more expensive now? No. So we need to go back to that producer expectations one. You say no? Treston says no. But everybody else was kind of unsure. Those of you who think that it's changing producer expectations, what are you thinking? Back it up.
I vote for Phone Tony.
You what?
Phone Tony.
Now, we're not phoning a friend.
Wait, I have a question.
Yes.
Because if you buy the software, does that mean you have to go to a preparer, or does that mean you do it by yourself?
You'll do it by yourself. That's why you're using the software, is to avoid paying a CPA.
Oh, okay.
Help Alex out, Elise.
I think it's expectations because they're preparing to raise the price of the services they're providing, so they're changing, they're like adjusting what they can supply.
All right, think about it from the business's point of view. What they're supplying, the tax preparation software, is for consumers a substitute for professional tax preparation stuff. So if this just got more expensive for consumers, what are consumers going to want to do? Buy more of that. But is that a supply determinant?
Right.
Right.
In the
Well, if the
I forgot
people
it.
who make the software know that consumers are gonna do that, then it is because they're gonna wanna hold their software until people go to buy it the next month.
But prices aren't gonna change.
But the supply. No, I don't know. I'm just gonna stop talking.
Well, if they're supplying the services, isn't that them changing what they're supplying? Isn't that them adjusting?
Tax preparation software companies are not the same as professional tax preparers. H&R Block is different than TurboTax. They're separate things.
Okay, okay.
H&R Block just raised their prices. We're TurboTax. We're trying to figure out,
No.
can H&R Block affect TurboTax's prices?
Yeah.
No.
Isn't there, what they're doing gonna influence what the software's doing?
Is it? Chuck?
Aren't they gonna wanna supply more to compete with the people that provide the service?
So Chuck wants to make more software in order to compete.
Well, couldn't they? They're gonna lower their price.
They want to supply less at a higher price, so slide along the curve is what Miranda wants to do. Maddie?
I feel like that's a demand.
Maddie feels like it's a demand determinant.
Yeah.
Because it is a substitute. So
I should just follow
could you be being suckered here?
Yes.
Perhaps. Gosh darn.
How bad does Alex want to go sit down right now?
So
Really
bad.
bad.
So bad. I have a question for her also. Do
Connor?
you play for Team USA?
No,
Or do you just have?
I just went to the tournament.
Gotcha.
Dude,
Of course you play for Team USA. I was asking.
Okay.
Maybe she had a sibling that did this.
So in our first scenario, the price of tax return software decreased, and Miranda was correct. It moved along the curve. Then we had Aaron up here, and it was cheaper to make the software, so we made more. Now, this devil scenario.
number C, really good guy?
Can't do it.
What do you think? Some supply.
It doesn't affect the supply curve because it is a demand determinant. It's a substitute. So this is why you have to know them all so that you can do exactly what we just did with Alex. Go through them all so that it doesn't apply. Yes, Chuck?
But if demand was increased, wouldn't they want to increase supply?
No. A change in demand does not cause a change in supply. And after the quiz tomorrow, we'll put supply and demand together on the same graph and you'll understand that. A change in demand doesn't change supply, but it will change quantity supplied. But remember, supply is the curve. So you're on the right track, you're just thinking too far ahead yet.
questions I have
All right. I think you guys need more practice.
You know, here's a worksheet to take home. Yeah. Well, like,
I am attached to my microphone without a long cord, so Max is going to hand these out, and we're going to do this worksheet together in the remaining time we have.
thank you.
Yes,
Can you go over the supply determinant?
change in government policy, which would be taxes and subsidies. Change in number of suppliers in the market. Change in producer expectations.
I'm gonna cry.
Change in technology. What?
Government policy.
Price of inputs.
Price of inputs, yeah. Change the price of inputs.
Auto workers union agreed to wage cuts.
Sometimes to preserve jobs.
Oh, okay.
If we can all take $1 less and yet everybody gets to keep working,
Are we gonna go over that concept
yes.
about unions and stuff?
Eventually, yes. Thank you, Max. Yep. Yes, ma'am.
On the quiz tomorrow, would we have to know about equilibrium and
The question is, on the quiz tomorrow, we have to know about equilibrium. No, because we are just quizzing supply and demand separately. We will put them together when you guys are done with the quiz. Yes?
So like on the previous example with the turbo tanks, where if it was the determinant was change in price and input prices, would it be like the price of putting like a motherboard or whatever?
Yeah, it could be any of the technology. It could be that we're outsourcing our programming to India, or that the price of silicon has gone down. I mean, it could be any kind of thing, though silicon doesn't necessarily relate to the software itself. Maybe our distribution costs went down. Instead of actually packaging it and putting it on a store shelf, it's all sold by download now. And that makes it cheaper. Okay? All right, so this is just like we did with the demand. Let's go through them together, but we'll go slow so you can think ahead. So we are graphing foreign and domestic car supply together on one curve. Okay? So supply of cars is what we've got graphed here. An auto workers union agrees to wage cuts. What determinant is that? That's always the first question you ask yourself. Elise? Price of inputs. What input is that? Labor. Good. So what happened to the price of inputs? It went down. So what happens to supply of cars? It goes up. It increases. And which direction does the curve move?
Right.
And so our new curve is good. All right. New robot technology increases efficiency. First question you ask is what? First question you ask is, what determinant is it? And the answer is? Change in technology. And so what's going to happen to supply? It will increase. And that means it shifts to the, and our new curve is good. A nationwide auto strike began at midnight. First question you ask is, what determinant? And if one doesn't immediately leap into your mind, then you have to go through them all. Michael, what's your answer? Producer expectations?
Oh, I meant like, sorry, I was thinking demand.
Oh, okay. That's a big check for yourself. Make sure that you're going through the right determinants. Sherm?
Is it price of input?
Price of inputs.
If you don't have any laborers.
Well, you don't have any laborers, so then that would mean that that input got uber cheap, right, to zero? Except when price of inputs goes down, supply is supposed to go up. But how are we going to go up if we have 0 laborers?
would it be the number of sellers?
Number of sellers in the market.
If nobody's gonna work for them, then they don't have anything.
If Ford, GM, Chrysler don't have any employees showing up at the factories, they're effectively, temporarily out of business, and so KK is correct. It is a change in the number of producers in the market.
What if half of them show up?
Can they run the factory as well as an entire workforce?
I don't know.
No. Can we play basketball 2-on-5 if half the team shows up? Right. Now our team has to forfeit. It's a change in the number of producers in the market. What?
What determinant was that? Oh, so
Change in the number of producers in the market.
even the half people show up?
Yeah, because you got to forfeit. You can't play that game.
Straight.
Unless you do, and then you win.
So that shift.
Only if you're playing Omaha Northwest.
You caught there, you can make jokes about that.
Yeah.
I also have watched us play them. Actually, they played us fairly well last year.
I was
Omaha,
gonna say.
I should say Omaha Brian's girls.
Oh my.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, that's painful. Bellevue East is painful. Okay. New import quotas reduce foreign car imports.
Yes. Government.
Change in government policies, because who sets quotas? The government does. So it's a change in government policies. And they're flat out reducing foreign car imports. So this one should be pretty straightforward. What happens to supply? It decreases, which means it moves what direction? And the new curve is? Yay! Is this seeming easy? There are examples in your orange book that you can go through tonight to make yourself more comfortable with this. It seems too easy. It's because I'm walking you through each step in the logic. It's when you have to apply the logic yourself. So maybe make yourself a note to the right of the graph there where you have all that open space. What are the steps in logic? First question is, yes, determine the determinant. That's obnoxious, Ron. Yes, but you have to determine the determinant. What determinant is affected? And then you have to double check to make sure the determinant you've picked is the correct kind of determinant. Are you looking at supply or are you looking at demand? Right? Because you guys picked the correct determinant on the software question, didn't you? It just wasn't supply. Okay? Then you figure out what happens to supply or demand based on that determinant, and then work the rest of it. But you have to start with determining the determinant. Cost of steel rises. Change in the cost of inputs. Even if, even when Ford starts making the new F-150 out of aluminum, there's still some steel in there, isn't it? I would not want to drive a vehicle with an aluminum frame. That would make me very uncomfortable. All right, so, all right. Good luck.
This one be changing number of producers for 6.
Yes, that's changing the number of producers.
Kyle.
Wouldn't the last one be a demand?
It is.
So make sure you know both of them. The questions are all.